Good morning, everyone. Derryanne, Hubbard here from Century 21 in Okanagan Valley Living. Today is September 11th. September 11th. If you were over 12 years old in September 11, 2001, I'm sure you remember what you were doing this day 19 years ago. For me, I had just moved to Vancouver, and it was the very first day I was showing properties in Vancouver. I had just started building a new career in real estate after moving there, and I was very nervous because it's a big city and I have a terrible sense of direction. And so I had my client out, and by the time we hit the second house and everybody was crowded around their television sets, some were crying, we ended our showings and went home. And what an incredible day, week, month that was. But anyways, today is September 11th. 2020. I wanted to do a stats update because really it's quite remarkable what is happening. Nobody, I don't think, 6 months ago or prior to the middle of March could have predicted what is happening in the real estate market. We all figured that in March and April, with the absolute decline in interest in real estate, that we would maybe not free fall, but certainly steadily go down. So if you look at the stats in March, right here, there were 56 sales in February, 67 in March. So we are beginning our spring market, and boom, in April it drops to 40. So that was really our big month. April, as they shut things down in March, the effects began to hit the real estate market, meaning many sellers took their house off the market or were about to list their house and decided not to, and many buyers just hunkered down at home and did not go out and look at houses. We dropped to 40 sales. Now, I'm in the North Okanagan. You can see I can pull these stats for the Shuswap and the Central, but since most of my focus in business is in the North Okanagan, I'll stick here. So we dropped to 40, but we rebounded in May. June, look at us, look at us, look at us. So we have just steadily increased. Look at our inventory. I mean, in April, we dropped to we were 398, and we went up by 9 listings to 407, 459, 463. So we have steadily grown in inventory, but our sales have gone way up. So you're most likely driving around town noticing for sale signs going up and relatively quickly sold stickers going on them. That's what's happening. Now, absorption rate is the rate at which properties are selling per month. So if in a certain month, say June, there are 1,000 properties on the market and 100 sell in that month of June, the absorption rate would be 10%. A balanced market is an absorption rate of 12, 13, 14, 15, 16,000. We usually like to say 16%, sorry. We usually like to say between 14 and 16% absorption rate is a balanced market. Balanced market means there's enough listings on the market for buyers to have choices, and things are selling fast enough that sellers are, their plans are going forward too. So it's balanced and that buyers are happy and sellers are happy. So that is around 14, 15, 16%. So we are double that at 30%. We were even higher last month. And if you go back in these stats, these are the years right up here, you have to go back to 2017, which was our last peak in the market, to find an absorption that high. So if you go back to October of 2017, you'll see an absorption of 35%. You'll see 36% in that August, 36% in that July. And we were in a peaking market in 2017. So here we are. Days on market, you can see, has gone down. So in that month of April, we were up to 105 days on market. And remember, that is the average. So some things may have been selling in less than a month, and some things may have been selling in 4, 5, 6 months. Okay, so we are at 67. We dropped from 81 days last month to 67. I don't really like to look at the average price because it can be influenced if lakefront property sold or 2 or 3 low-end condos sell. So your median price, this one is better. But look at this climb. So this is a one-off. I don't know why it jumped from 475 to 512, but this would be sort of the next logical step. Then it jumped another 1,000, but look at the jump here from 482 to 529. That's 30, 40, almost $50,000 in median price. We came down a little bit here, but here we are back up again. So our prices are definitely increasing. So what does this mean to you? Well, if you are a seller and you need to sell your house this year or next year, feel free to jump into the market and list now. I mean, I think we have September, October, November to get it sold. Once the snow flies, Christmas comes, you'll see a real flattening in the stats for December, January, and a little bit of February, depending on how much snow we have. Now, you might say to me, but maybe I should wait. Spring will be better. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. So one thing you always have to look at is all of these stats are very good at predicting what's going to happen in 6 to 18 months, provided there is no catastrophic event. So we could never have predicted this here because we didn't know COVID was coming. So what is the next possible catastrophic event? Is one of two things, is either a second enormous wave of COVID and a shutdown of the economy. We cannot predict what that will bring. Or, just simply a removal of all the government programs, financial stimuli, help that the government is giving to people. If they shut that door and a lot of people are now not getting that subsidy, it may bring about an enormous downcline in the market. We don't know. So what we do know is right now, we're quite confident that September, October, November is going to be strong for sellers. So if you are a buyer, so the question may be, if you don't have to buy, should you be buying now? Maybe not. Maybe you should wait. But if your timelines don't allow you to wait another 2 or 3 or 4 years for this wave to go up, and then it will correct and it will come down and then it'll go back up like that. And the line over a decade or two is always in an upward direction, but the line goes like this as it goes up. So we peaked in 2017, then we leveled off and had some correction there. Not a major correction by any means, but a major correction occurred in 2010, 11, and 12. That market was definitely coming down. And then that was a major correction. So will we correct? Yes, we will correct. Now, when will that happen? I don't know. I think it will happen in the next 6 to 18 months. We will correct. But that's just my opinion. And if you need to buy a house now, you need, emphasis on the word need, not want, you should buy a house now. So I bought my house, my own personal house in 2006. 2007, we peaked. So I was very close to paying top dollar for my house. And then the market declined. But my house was not an investment. My house was my personal house to live in. I knew it was a long-term ownership. That was in 2006. So 14 years ago, and I still own the same house. I will own it for another 3 to 5 years until my daughter is out and settled, married, or moved away or whatever, and then I will downsize to a condo. So I knew that this was going to be a long-term investment for me. So buying at the peak did not bother me. My house actually lost value, came below the purchase price that I paid for it in the decline, and went up, and now I'm way ahead of what I paid for it. But long-term, you'll never lose money in real estate. You only lose money in real estate when you are forced to sell when the market is lower than when you bought. So if I had had to sell my house in 2010 or 11, I would have lost money on my house because it came down. but I knew I wasn't going to. I knew I was going to hang on to my house. So if you are thinking of buying a house for your principal residence as a long-term investment, and when I say long-term, at least 5 years, better 10, but 5 years, and then you can calculate when you sell your house, you will not lose money, even though you're buying in a seller's market right now. So when I sell my house, if the market in 2 or 3 or 4 years, when my daughter is gone and now is the time, if the market's low, I will just hang on to my house, or I will put tenants in my house, because I'm going to sell it in an up market. And that's my final piece in my long-term investment of my home, is I'm not going to sell it in a down market. Even though I will definitely make more money than what I paid for it, I want to maximize that dollar and sell it in an up market. So I'll either stay here by myself in my house, which is too big for me, but I'll stay, or I'll put tenants in it and I'll move to a 2-bedroom condo. And that's what I'll do. So if you're a buyer and you're looking to invest, either to flip or to put tenants in it short term, less than 5 years, I would not buy now. If you're looking for your principal residence and this is a place to live that you anticipate, making sure that you lose your job and you have to sell your house. You couldn't have anticipated that. You get a fantastic job offer to move to Ontario. You couldn't have anticipated that. But if you are buying your home to live in for 5, 8, 10 years as your goal right now, I would purchase your home, because I believe even though it is a strong seller's market, you will not lose money if it's a longer term investment. Okay, so I hope that is a good update. When I do stats normally, it's always interesting to do it, but these are exciting days to see how things are unfolding, because there's so much unpredictability right now, in that we could never have predicted the rebound of the market after COVID. Everybody said we can't have this kind of loss of interest in April and May and not have some pretty long-term effects on our real estate market. And boom, June came around and it's like COVID never happened for the real estate market. And buyers are excited to buy, sellers are excited to sell. We are in multiple offer situations. And if you are thinking of buying, take that into account. You are going to not have a lot of choices. And when you find something that even gets most of your check marks, put an offer in that night, because probably somebody else is looking at it at the same time and they're going to write an offer tonight or tomorrow. Anticipate you may be in competition, competing for a house. I just picked up a new buyer. They sent me 10 listings that they wanted to see. We got to see 2. 8 of them had accepted offers on them. And that's the reality of this kind of market, where our inventory is not keeping up with the number of new buyers coming into the market. So I hope that helps. Enjoy your September. This is my favorite time of year. I love that the heat is gone, but we're still getting beautiful sunny days, just a little cooler, easier to sleep at night. I hope all is well with you. Stay safe and stay healthy.